Good morning and welcome to SmashFund and Coffee with Carol and Angela. Good morning, Carol. How are you?
Good morning, Angela. I'm doing great. Thank you. Beautiful Friday morning.
I know. We just had to remind ourselves that it was actually Friday and not Monday.
Yeah.
The weeks just roll one into the other.
It sure does. Lots going on and super fast and very exciting for sure.
Well, today we have an extra special guest, and I'm looking at his coffee mug, and it is a unicorn. And it is the best way to describe Rob Towles, CEO of SmashFund, because he is a magical, one-of-a-kind being. Rob, are you there?
I'm here. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, so
You're
magic,
so excited.
I'll try to live up to that.
Yeah. Well, one-of-a-kind is definite.
I appreciate that. Well, thanks for having me on. It's great. I'm all coffeeed out, but I'll refill that mug with some sort of energy source here pretty quick. But
I like the way
I
you
love
think.
the unicorn. Yeah. That mug reminds me of what we can do. Becoming a unicorn company. If anybody gets a chance, Google unicorn companies. You'll see what our goal is here with SmashFund. A great way to help people fund their passions, right? So pretty fun stuff.
Absolutely. We're so
early.
excited to get going and fund our passions and just be a part of SmashFund. So I have a question because we're not the site isn't completely visible to us yet, and we know that there's a profile page and a project page. So could you explain a little bit about those distinctions?
Yeah, absolutely. When we started this project and went through a beta a little while back, we really heard from so many people that they wanted some social aspects to the platform as well. Not just crowdfunding, right? But obviously we're different on the crowdfunding side because we believe everybody should always have a profile to talk about whatever they want, whatever they're into, either that month or that year or what they want to raise money for, or sometimes just sharing ideas and resources, eventually with people around the world. Well, to do that efficiently, you also have to have a lot of social media technology as well. And so we saw a really good blend between what LinkedIn's doing, more specifically with LinkedIn Premium. Anybody that's on LinkedIn, you'll know what I'm talking about. Business ideas and sharing resources. It's a great platform for that. But then also with all the crowdfunding functionality. So we're not just simply a crowdfunding platform. We are a social network with crowdfunding functionality. And so what we're starting to roll out right now, obviously, is version 1. This is V1 of the platform. So you're going to see some of the initial nuts and bolts of a social network, and then also some of the nuts and bolts of a crowdfunding profile as well.
That's great because I've got a lot of people saying they put up their whole profile onto their whole project onto their profile page, and I'm like, wait.
Yeah, it'll become more and more self-explanatory. And the thing that people just have to remember as they're building this out is the platform will evolve. It is going to become super feature-rich, obviously. Yeah. But then also, if some features aren't being used or if they're complicated, those will be taken away. That way, this is continued to be a streamlined process, right? And when you look at some of the platforms out there, LinkedIn, they've been around forever now, right? They're one of the first guys. But a lot of people don't realize that when you look at, a company like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, these guys have been in business almost 8 years now. So they've had a long time to produce those profiles, add all those features in, decide which features don't work. And we see that even with Facebook now. They take away some features that just aren't utilized or they're more complicated. And so we'll follow that same path. What I'm excited about is, just the fact that some of these guys have been around 8 years. They actually started developing before that. We're almost looking at 10 years. A lot of these people have a huge head start. And, from inception, we're a year and a half in. So imagine what we'll look like, not in 8 years, but even a year from now. So it's super exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a lot of.
It's such a different concept, blending these two platforms together, the social networking and crowdfunding. So when the profile page came out, people were thinking crowdfunding, and it's. I'm happy to have this conversation because it helps to picture the overall look of this platform and how to get started.
Yeah, and also they're doing the best they can to roll these out in little chunks, but there's not a whole lot they could hold back now because the whole platform's getting ready to go live. So expect in the next couple of days to see the actual crowdfunding profile go live. And,
that's going to be so super. Yeah. Oh, that is awesome. The question I get, Rob, is how can an existing business weave SmashFund into their overall success of their business?
Oh, you know what? That kind of goes back also to, the whole social media profile, right? There's only so much you can do on a crowdfunding profile. And, of course, you could talk about, wishes of, starting your own business or financial needs and all that. But it's really hard to talk about, maybe your business or your product or your book enough just with that crowdfunding profile. So that really takes some of that social media connectivity as well. And so if somebody already has an existing business and they're like, hey, this is what my dream is, I'm excited to receive revenue share to help fund the business I already have underway, we want to be able to have just those blogs and those chat boards and just all the social feeds to be able to do that as that person might be building out their actual project at the same time. Because let's face it, people want to start talking about what their passions are today, not tomorrow, not a week from now, not a month from now, after they've figured out how to tell their story and take the right photo, right? They want to do it now. And so we're giving that vehicle for them to get on there, start talking about what they're passionate about, and start heating up that passion or project.
So it seems like it's easy for businesses that they're out there blogging and doing social media anyway to just add the tagline that, I'm crowdfunding on SmashFund, and I'd love for you to donate to my project or my passion, or if you want to join, here you go.
Well, absolutely. And I can't say this enough, but usually when I talk about it enough, people really get it. We really do, and I hate to bring up LinkedIn so much, but there's a lot of different models out there, but I really believe LinkedIn has figured out a little bit as far as the subscription-based model. What are people willing to pay for? And what they found out is they're willing to pay for those assets, job search, finding employees or finding employment. And they also kind of find like-minded people to communicate with every day, and, they like each other's posts and this and that. We believe we are the answer to crowdfunding, because if we could allow people to build these social networks around the world, but we're dumping almost our entire marketing budget into our user base for building our platform for us, then we're unstoppable. And it's amazing. And when you look at crowdfunding, there could be up to an 89% failure rate because, what's in it for the next person, right? I mean, you could only put up so many projects and passions and put your hat out and say, hey, would you like to, give to my own, project, or I'm trying to start my own restaurant or whatever. It doesn't always work like that. But we as a company could step in and say, look, you're building our platform for us. You're building this massive network. We have a lot of different ways we could spend our marketing budget. But we love what Uber's doing, what Lyft is doing, what Sue is doing. We love the fact that these companies said, look, we're going to create this massive platform. We're going to revenue share most of our money with you because we know you're doing the work. We know that you're building the platform for us. So essentially, our goal as a company is to become the world's largest backer. We want to be our users' biggest backer. Even if they're not getting contributions from the public backers, we as a company want to step in and say, thank you so much for building this platform for us. And that's why there's no crazy things like qualifications or any of that nonsense. We just want people to come on, have a great time, invite others, and start building this worldwide community, which is coming in the near future as well. We might just be starting here in the U.S. and Canada, but this is just the beginning. We have some announcements coming out pretty soon, and we're going to be able to share with people how far ahead we actually are on getting some of these other countries on board. And that's why we're not already rolled out. We made a decision a little bit ago to say, you know what, let's go ahead and start implementing all this technology and some of this third-party technology that's required just for banking for international expansion. So forget about starting to expand internationally next year. We've moved all that up to this year. And it's a lot of
really
work.
Exciting.
Very
Yeah,
exciting.
really
My
exciting.
heart started thumping when Rob said that our goal is to become the world's largest backer. And
right.
I just stopped right there. I mean, everything else you said fell into that, but that is huge.
I know.
It's so exciting to be a part of that.
Well, and I also did the math on that. Of the 149, SmashFund itself has taken just under $30. You're pushing. I love the idea that my $50 goes to who I connected with, and my $4 connections. The rest of that, the other 80%, goes to the $4 connections around me. So I feel like I'm everyone's angel investor on the platform. You're going to get that from me every month.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. There's two things I think about when you say that. The first thing is with most crowdfunding platforms, you have to go and try to get everybody to buy into your idea, right?
Right.
And really, what's in it for them? Sometimes maybe it's an equity-based platform, which is great. Maybe it's rewards-based, to where they get something in return. But maybe it just is donation-based. I love the fact that somebody can come onto our platform and say, look, you might not contribute to me. That's okay. But, hey, get an invite code. Build a massive network. Fund what you're passionate about. And the company will take care of me. It's so the opposite of the way the industry works right now. And that goes back to the mug. There's a lot of reasons why I have this unicorn mug. But, my passion, obviously, is if we could become this privately held billion-dollar company, then we are truly funding the world based on our revenue share model. Yeah. And so there's just a lot of fun things that come about from that. Yeah, it's truly awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're about
amazing.
to split wide open, Rob. Have you thought of what kinds of projects you're looking forward to seeing on SmashFund?
Yeah, you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing, some innovation, obviously. I mean, it's so fun. I guess at the end of the day, I love to watch creative, projects. I mean, there's a lot of projects on platforms that are personal needs, and those are great. I mean, everybody has a personal need. If you go to GoFundMe, you'll find out real quick that either there's a personal need or somebody knows somebody that has a personal need.
Sure.
And that's a given. So we're going to see those on the platform like crazy. What I'm excited about is some of these ideas that people have that sometimes others just don't understand. They just need a platform to where they could start talking about the idea and they could start writing their content, start posting. Because with so many platforms right now, it's all or nothing. You got to get on there. You better tell your story right from day one or you're sunk, or you're going to be taken off the platform, or they're going to increase your fees. And there's so many creative people, and they have brilliant ideas, but they have a hard time explaining it on the first day. So sometimes it has to evolve, and they have to get feedback from the backers to ask questions. And then the person that put up that project is thinking, oh, that's such a great question. That's how I should explain it, you know? And so it'll start, right? It'll start to evolve, and then people will start to comment and help each other out. And so all those things are great needs, and people that have great, brilliant ideas that have the marketing capital, those will obviously do well right out of the gate. But I'm really excited for all these people that have, almost like Shark Tank, you know, to a certain extent. Some of the Shark Tank ideas are pretty neat, but they're premature, and those guys, they never get funded. because they showed up, they got all the hard questions right when they hit the show that they thought of. And so maybe this is a kind of an incubator, too, give everybody a little bit more of a runway to talk about their idea, right? So.
Yeah, I love it. A Shark Tank incubator, that's great.
Yeah. You know, on that note, I was doing a little bit of research, and a friend of mine had a project on Kickstarter, and he met his goal. It was $350,000. He had 38 days to do it in. But at the end, he had to give them $17,500. And I said, well, if you were on SmashFund, it would have cost you $300, not counting if you would have gotten any overlap or any viral connections or any personal connections. And that to me is just like, wow, that's a game changer. That's over $17,000 in your pocket.
It is. It's an absolute game changer. And especially, I mean, the average successful project brings in about $7,500 a month. We're obviously the clear advantage. And it's funny, we'll get some people that email in, hey, why should I pay this subscription fee? And this platform says they're free. First of all, no platform is free. We all know that. Yes. The platforms that are free are going out of business just as quick as they're starting, because they have to get money somewhere to pay for their overhead, and then usually what happens is they'll try to pass those fees on to the backers. And then the backers don't like it because the backers feel like, wow, we're already contributing. Now you want us to pay your overhead, your credit card processing fees. And so we love looking at, like when we look at Fundable, for example, they start at $179 a month. They are a massive platform, but they give so much value for that $179 that you can't find a lot of other places except for us, obviously. So they're going to have some pretty steep competition pretty quick. But we have a tab that's going to be lit up in the next couple of days called Advantages. And then it'll show, hey, this is how we compare to the other guys. There's obviously 1,200 other sites out there, so we can't list everybody, nor do we want to get into a spitting contest. But what we're going to do is give people the information to look at what we do, and then also the information on how they can look at all the other companies and find out how they have all the gotchas, right? Increased fees or whatever the case is. So the only people that we really find that don't understand the subscription model are the uneducated people. They haven't taken the time to actually learn about crowdfunding and learn about our competitive advantage. And then once people do that, they come back and they say, man, this is incredible. I can't believe nobody's done this. But it really takes blending the three models together, right? Crowdfunding, looking at what LinkedIn Premium's doing. They're not revenue sharing one penny.
Not a penny.
But they have millions and millions of users. That's subscription based. And then the revenue share, which is, we talk about this a lot, right? The share economy. It's just super cool right now. It's a great way of doing business. You look at Airbnb and Lyft and all these guys just being able to share the revenues back to their user base. It's just a brilliant marketing platform. So it's a long-winded answer to that subscription base, but all to say that you're absolutely right. I mean, we are the best one-stop shop for people trying to raise any amount, in my opinion.
Yes, I love the idea of the advantages and the comparisons, because Angela has spoken about this on our talks and with people we've spoken with. I have talked about it, but to have a place right there to see that is very powerful, because it really it's something it doesn't come to your mind unless you're shown. And then all of a sudden, people's eyes open up. It's like, oh, I get that.
Yeah. Or they didn't know about crowdfunding at all, right?
Right.
You come across more people. They have no idea what crowdfunding is. I cannot tell you how many people email our company and say, yeah, what's your product? It's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. What do you mean?
I've gotten that too. It's like the product is the platform.
Yeah.
You create your own. Yeah.
It's like going to Facebook and asking what their product is. It's really funny. But it has been fun to educate.
And I did create a comparison chart of like the top 5 or 6 crowdfunding sites, and it's impressive what we're going to do compared to these other ones. And I think as soon as we're live, they're going to be scrambling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But the great thing is they're locked into a certain way of doing business. We have so much technology and so much proprietary technology on our end that they really can't make the shift that we're about to deliver. Maybe bad for them and good for us, but at the same time, it's super great for the entire industry. Because at the end of the day, and we all know this, growing up, how many times have we met with different friends over the years that said, I wish I had that same opportunity you had, or I have this idea, but gosh, how am I going to, I need $100,000 just to put together the beginnings of maybe a prospectus or, maybe my logo and tell my story. And, in reality, so many people's dreams just, they just fall through because they cannot get a leg up. They don't have the capital.
They do fall through,
right?
And then they find someone else with the capital has picked up on a similar idea.
Yep.
And that's hurtful. I've had that happen to me too.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. I've also had clients that put $2 million into R&D and had nothing left over for marketing, and then they were dead in the water because they couldn't get this project off the ground. They had no capital. And what I love about SmashFund is even if you did your R&D, you still get the revenue share coming in that's going to be there waiting for you when you need to market it. It's brilliant.
That's right. Yeah, the revenue share stays in place, and then you continue to have your platform with your backers. Exactly.
Great.
So, Rob, I'm curious. I think we're a little bit curious. If you were to crowdfund something, what might that be for you?
Oh, wow. Boy, you know what? I've never been asked that. I don't think I've ever been asked
We're
that.
trying to get you questions that you've never been asked.
Yeah, you did pretty good on that one.
Thank you.
I know this is going to sound silly when I say this, so being a serial entrepreneur and a workaholic, SmashFund is my project. I'm trying to think of something else, but I got to be honest. I'm like living my passion right now. I guess mainly because I'm seeing the emails come in every day of people that they're asking questions or they're excited about the platform, and I'm watching all their ideas come to life. So you can imagine as a serial entrepreneur, when you have thousands of people talking about their ideas, it's like a candy store for me, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah, but the only thing is my wife is so worried about when these projects go live that we're going to go broke because I'm trying to fund all of them myself. And it's a valid went through the beta. Half a year ago when we went through the beta, I literally spent thousands of dollars funding different people's passions. Because it's hard not to.
That's good information to know, Rob.
Yeah, right.
And Carol and I considered having this conversation with your wife rather than you, just to kind of see what she's gone through.
It would be a good idea. I think for me, so besides the company being my passion, also working, so hard for so long, my entire life. As I get older, time is becoming more precious. So this is also probably a way for me to kind of buy my time back. So I told my wife, we had a couple short vacations recently, and our boys are getting older. So I said, I think I'd like to start traveling a little bit for the first time. She about died because I am not an unplug person. I'm just not. But more and more recently, I don't know what it is, or maybe it's my age. I'm thinking, I'd really like to go spend a month in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And we have one of our sons is a tremendous soccer player, and so I would love to go, watch some of these matches around the world with him. And so for me, I think it is my passion is really getting time back and living a life of adventure. I've always been pretty adventurous. I'm, really good at breaking bones and, doing a lot of crazy things, and I don't do it as much as I used to because we started having kids. But I love thrill seek, adventure, and now I'm looking at maybe.
Are we going to gift you? Are we going to gift you a wingsuit as soon as we're live?
No, it actually is. It actually is on my purchase list to let you know. I've wanted a wingsuit now for 7 years, so I will have one. I will have one. Absolutely.
Well,
and there might be some illegal activity in it. So
I want to get you a GoPro so we could watch you jump off the mountain.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It'll be a live action onboarding video.
Yeah, I'll do it. No problem.
All right, good.
Yeah.
So, Rob, you're a self-proclaimed, I am not good at social media. I'm not social media savvy. So how would you go about promoting a project if you weren't social media savvy?
Well, the thing is I'm not a social guy. I'm just not. I only have so much bandwidth, so I focus on what I'm good at, and then I try to find people that are really good at promoting. I have a couple of kids they're amazing, on social. But when somebody has a passion, they don't need to be good at, posting, or knowing the differences between Instagram and Facebook so much. I mean, all those links and feeds are there. That's great. But if you're passionate about something, you could pick up the phone, you could go out to coffee, you could tell people about it, and it's not an issue. Here's an example. Through the beta, I had some conversations with people, and we were talking about projects, right? I mean, in the crowdfunding, you call them projects. So I'd ask people, hey, what's your project, and it was almost stressful for them. It sounded like a job. They're like, a project, okay. Well, yeah. I don't know. I got to try to figure out how to get it together, right? Mm-hmm. I got to write the story, and maybe I'll get back to you in a month. I'll tell you what my project is. So then when you sit down for coffee with them and you say, hey, what are you passionate about? Wow. You're not going to get a word in edgewise for the next 2 hours. And so that's why we started going more toward passion than project, because everybody has a project. They just don't know what it is yet. But if you start with passion, well, that's when the creativity starts to flow. And then, out of billions of people on this planet, everybody has a passion, right?
Once you're in that creative flow, nothing feels like work. It's just a joy to be active and thinking and doing and shuffling. It's just adult playtime.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it's funny because something in the back of my mind when I'm answering that question is I look at some of our top influencers on the platform already. They already have thousands of people, thousands of connections, And I have to tell you that every single one of them, they never post. They're not on Facebook hardly ever, Instagram, very, very rarely. But they are super passionate people, and I think one thing that they do have in common is they love others. They love people. They cannot wait to try to help them, get funded, and who are you, and what are you trying to accomplish? Yeah. Just because I've heard them speak a little bit. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So on that note, would you take a different approach when talking to SmashFund to different target audiences? Like, do you talk to millennials different than baby boomers, or men versus women?
Well, yeah, maybe. But I think that's also why we're trying to be, I guess, as much as we can within the vein of no moving parts and simple, and not going too far down any holes that are super specific as far as age, gender, anything like that.
Right.
And I can't tell you that that's my idea, but we've really just tried to be a student. And by the way, just our people that are working on PR and all that for the company, they're really good at this. But when we look at Instagram, we look at Snapchat, those companies started with just rolling out and not overthinking that. And then the users kind of tell them what the platform is. And so we expect that to happen with our platform. Our users are going to start telling us what our platform is. And we'll be able to identify, what the age groups are pretty soon, which actually we're starting to see already. Our age groups are looking between probably late 20s, early 50s. One of the most strange things that we're looking at is we're slightly male dominant, which is really interesting. I'm not sure why, because we're so social, right? It's, but it's really, really interesting. And then that will start to change, and it'll start to go through, just different phases, especially when we start to add all the features. We'll probably go more female dominant, because then it's a touch, feel, social instead of just build.
Right.
So it's going to be fascinating. Yeah. So we decided not to go too crazy and tell people what our platform is early on and how to communicate, but our users will definitely tell us, and then we'll start to message based on that.
That's interesting. I had a feeling it was going to go that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question about the equity share. I know that's not open yet, and it's probably going to be there by the end of the year, but someone asked me, because they're interested in that part of it, and they wanted to know if they came on now, would they still be eligible to be part of the equity share? Like, they want their company to be looked at by the VCs that you're bringing on board.
There is a possibility. If it is a good enough deal, if it is, it can't be a ground-up project, because that's really where our platform comes in, to where they can start to build it up and all that good stuff. But if they have a pretty good idea of what they're already trying to do, and they've kind of laid a little bit of groundwork as far as their idea, we can. As a matter of fact, the VCs that we work with on the daily basis now, they ask me at least once a week, hey, do you have anybody that you believe has a project that they'd like to equity crowdfund? And so absolutely, we do. These guys are ready. They have people in place. And they're already in the space, by the way. They're already in the space. And so, good. They work with other equity crowdfunding companies right now, but they're actually coming on board with our company.
Terrific.
I've been seeing that just in the general news more and more. It's becoming quite a buzz, the whole equity share idea.
Mm.
So
that
we're rolling into.
Yeah, Carol, very interesting you say that, because yesterday I was reading some articles on it's really called regulation based, right? Because there's different title series within the scope of that. A lot of people know it as equity based crowdfunding, but it's regulation based. They said the traffic that they're seeing right now, there's a possibility that by 2020 it could exceed $3 trillion in revenues.
Yeah.
$3 trillion.
Unbelievable.
I read that. I know it's it's mind-boggling.
It is. Just a month ago, it was maybe $1 trillion by 2025.
Exactly. We talked about this.
Yeah. But they're actually seeing the uptick now. They're actually seeing the interest in it. So they're thinking, wow, once we remove these moving parts and they start to make this efficient, it could really be quite the machine. And, because when you look at a high level, I mean, who doesn't want to be able to look at all the different deals out there and put some money in the ones you really like?
Sure.
I mean, it allows the average person now to be part of the Groupon IPO or the Facebook IPO. The general public has never had that opportunity unless they've been in the right place at the right time. And, as you know, I've had one of those investments, and it was absolutely the right place at the right time. And it was amazing. But, those are like true unicorns, right? You just cannot. You find those. And I look every day for them still. You get spoiled when you have something like that. But, it's fascinating. Yeah.
Rob, what do you think might be the biggest misconception about you? I think we all have misconceptions about ourselves, but what might yours be?
Well, I think one thing, with the position I have with the company is that I'm outgoing. I'm actually an introvert, first of all, but I love business and I love people. And so you kind of get over that, right? So when I do maybe these calls or I do interviews, you wouldn't know that. But after I do the calls or interviews, I'm exhausted because, I grew up, I didn't talk a whole lot until I was 7. And was pretty reserved all growing up, but I love business. And then by loving business and then also just loving to watch people become successful, you got to get past that. So that's one thing. And then I think the other thing is, when you're successful, you get attacked a lot. And so being part of that community that gets attacked a lot is interesting, and you go online and there's all these negative articles about you and things like that. They'll talk about the negative things, but they'll never talk about the positive outcomes. What happened, after I was accused of this or accused of that, and where was the smoking gun? People love to talk about negativity. That's what sells. The media loves negativity.
Unfortunately, that's so true.
It is true. And then people that are trying to sell their own product and hijack your internet traffic, they will say horrible things about you just to get your traffic. And then after it's all proved wrong or not proved wrong, they will, they don't take it down. They leave it up. They never tell you the other side. So you end up in a class of, Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, to where you get a little taste of what those guys deal with every day when bloggers and people nonstop are just saying horrible things about you. And so, so I don't like it, So those are probably the two things about me, being a little bit of an introvert, but
especially
also
being an introvert and then coming out, which is a brave thing to do for a personality like yours, and then to be subjected to a lot of negativity. So
we need to post something maybe that, hey, I don't have horns, right?
You just have the unicorn.
Yeah, right.
One unicorn horn.
Right in the middle there. But yeah, and it's funny. It doesn't bother our legal teams at all. We have really the best legal in the world. Between Oswald and Yap and Loeb and Loeb, I mean, these guys are tremendous. And they don't care. It's water off the duck's back. They say, hey, welcome to real business. These people are never going to go away. The more successful you are, the more lawsuits you're even going to get. I mean, Disney, I don't know if there's even a company in California that has more pending lawsuits against them as Disney does. But it is the price of success. And I even had an uncle tell me when I was younger, he said, Rob, I got to tell you, because he was a big guy with Costco Wholesale. He was one of their first employees. And he said, if you're not being sued, you're not worth being sued. Always remember that. I thought, wow, okay, that's the reality of the world, right? So,
and that is so true. I have clients right now that they're all going through lawsuits. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be settled out of court or who's right or who's wrong. You never know the truth, because there's usually a gag order at the end where you're not allowed to talk about it. So it is just part of doing business.
The first time I heard about a gag order, by the way, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that, wait a second, we don't get to tell the entire public why these guys were scoundrels, why they're like, no. The legal system is horrible, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, that was fascinating. So, Rob, okay, so what does the next week look like for SmashFund?
Expect a lot of rollouts. I'm looking at the schedule right now, and they don't always share the schedule because I hold it to them, right? Yeah, I'm like, hey, we have a schedule here. What's going on in this state? Profiles going live. I mean, there is a ton coming out. And I'm trying not to jump ahead of these guys, but I reviewed it this morning, and it's super, super exciting. And I be honest with you, I didn't know if they were going to make some of these timelines, because I made the decision and I pushed on the team that we needed to actually go back a month ago and start developing all of our technology for international expansion before we go live. I told them, I said, I don't want to be taking the platform off or going back onto a dev platform to integrate all of the international compliance and fraud compliance and everything that has to go into our system later. I don't want to do that, not when we have thousands of people on the platform. I said I'd rather delay things just a little bit to make sure we could get all that loaded right now, and that way when we do announce that we're going to go live, there's the potential of adding a country every single month, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So that put a lot of pressure on them, obviously, for a lot of different reasons. And it puts a lot of pressure on you. It puts a lot of pressure on me because, hey, here we are. We're past July 5th. We're still early July, but at the same time, people are anxious. They're anxious for revenue share. They're anxious for expansion. And I was elated this morning to see that they're now ready to start pushing the profiles live. And so I think we're just around the corner from actually charging credit cards pretty quick. So there'll be an announcement about that pretty soon as well. So it's an exciting week we have coming.
That is very, very exciting. Well, I would like to just thank you for your time. You have been open and candid, and Carol and I really appreciate that, and we are thrilled that you had this time to be our guest. If any of our listeners want to be a guest on our talk show, email me at ismashfund@gmail.com. That's ismashfund@gmail.com, and we would love to have you come on. And Rob, as soon as the project page portion of this is open, Carol and I are hoping that this conversation becomes about what they're passionate about, and so we could drive donations by using these YouTube videos that we're creating.
Well, absolutely. Well, I just really appreciate your leadership and your heart that you have for people. And, thank you so much for having me on the call.
Thank you so much, Rob. And Angela, I will do our best to tip that male-dominant phenomenon that's going on with SmashFund and
I know.
bring the women on board.
Something, right?
Thanks so much.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Bye, everybody.